Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Crypto Invest. So no doubt the biggest news for today is that Tether allegedly got hacked for 30 million US dollars. I have been following with the Tether's debate for a while, and in this video what I am hoping to do is to provide you with a series of information, try to help you understanding what is going on with USDT, also known as USD Tether. So with that, let's get into it. But first, I do want to say that this is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as investment advice. So I'm going to start with the Bitcoin chart today. So if you look at the Bitcoin chart the last 24 hours, so yesterday around this time, if you've been watching the chart, you will know that Bitcoin all of a sudden went from 8,200 or so all the way down to just 7,700, and this happened within just a few hours. So what is going on with the drop? So the reason why that you see a drop in Bitcoin, and also during this time you see a slight drop in Ethereum and also in Litecoin as well, and across many of other cryptocurrencies, and the reason because Tether sent out an announcement. It's a critical announcement announcing that about 31 million USDT, which is about 31 million US dollar of Tether was stolen by hacker. And they know the address that the fund are currently being held at by the hacker, and they are trying desperately to block this hacker from taking out the fund. So meaning they trying to block this hacker from redeeming for real US dollars. And this news here really get caught on Twitter and a bunch of other social media, and it spread like wildfire, and it's in turn causing the dip in the cryptocurrencies, especially in Bitcoin that you see here. So let's get into a little more detail as to what is Tether, why does it matter to Bitcoin, and what is the relationship between Tether and Bitfinex, the cryptocurrency exchange. So first off, you are looking at the Tether website. So Tether is basically a peg cryptocurrency to the US dollar. So based on the website, it's supposed to be 100% backed, meaning that every Tether is always backed by $1 US. So every 1 USDT is always equivalent to 1 USD. And that is the point of this cryptocurrencies. It is a stable value cryptocurrencies. And the reason why Tether was created is for multiple reasons. The reason why the investors are using Tethers instead of US dollars simply because they can take profit from cryptocurrencies into USDT and avoid taxes, because in theory they are still under another cryptocurrencies and not cashing out USD. So it's gonna help them with taxes. And also, it's easy for the investor to transfer USD Tether between multiple exchanges. And it's a lot harder to do with actual US dollar. You have to deposit, you have to withdraw, there's waiting period. And USDT is just so much more faster and so much more convenient. And for the exchange, the reason why they want to use USDT versus USD, because a lot of the exchange doesn't want to do fiat currency into cryptocurrencies. They like to trade cryptocurrency with cryptocurrencies because it is a lot faster and it is a lot cheaper for them, because they don't have to deal with any fiat currencies. And that's the benefit of the exchange trying to use Tether. So at the high level, this is a very good idea, especially if you use an exchange a lot. It just makes things so much easier. However, there has been a lot of controversy about USD Tether, so let me go into that. But first, let's take a look at USD Tether on CoinMarketCap. So as you can see, the goal for USD Tether is to maintain a 1-to-1 ratio. So every 1 USD Tether should maintain about 1 USD, and that's the price should be stable around that. And as far as the market, you can see that Bitfinex, Poloniex, HitBTC, and a few other exchanges are using USD Tether. However, a lot of USD Tether are being held on Bittrex, and especially in Bitfinex. So this is the topic that I want to talk to you about today. So first, let's take a look at this article on Medium. And by the way, as always, all the links to all the articles will be in the description below. So the reason why when people talk about USD Tether, you always hear them go hand in hand with Bitfinex. And the reason why, because Bitfinex exchange, they own majority of USD Tethers. Also, Bitfinex exchange is the majority shareholder in Tether, and in theory, they do have access to those funds. Or they can just simply borrow the USD Tether and lend them out for margin trading. So the controversy with USD Tether actually started back earlier this year, back in the summer, so around June, and a lot of the concerns like this article point out is that firstly, it is an interesting example of how cryptocurrencies are valued and are developing. However, I do worry about the short-term and medium-term stability of USDT in its current format. As it is reliant on Bitfinex, in theory, it could be shut down overnight, which is true. That would have a drastic consequences for the value of USDT. Potentially, if the USD backing is removed, meaning that in the case that one USDT is no longer backed by one real US dollar, the USDT, the USD Tether would still hold some value as people are still going to use it. However, it would just be open to the same volatility of other cryptocurrencies, and there would be no guarantee, and it would keep a value of $1. So no guarantee that it's going to hold their dollars if there's no USD backed. So the author of this article say, please be careful when using USDT. Don't hold a huge amount of value in USDT, and just use them as a short-term trading tools, right? Not a hold of value. So this one was actually back in June, and this is not the only person that have some concern about USDT, but the concern about USDT really escalated back in September. That's when a lot of accusation was coming out to the fact that USDT may not be backed by USD, and there's some fraudulent activity between USD Tether, and Bitfinex. So that is cool hand in hand with, if you go back to the USDT chart. So you can see that back in September, when things really heated up, is when you can see the blue line here on CoinMarketCap for USDT. When this line really escalated, almost parabolic, and this blue line represents how much USD value that Tether actually have in terms of total market cap. And remember, because each USDT is backed by $1 US, if the market cap have been rising a lot, would also mean that there have been more and more USD Tether coming into the market, and a lot of people having a lot of doubt as to why there's so many USDT being introduced into the market. Are you sure that each of these USDT is backed by $1 USD? So at the moment, as you can see, it's escalated back on September the 4th, when the value of USDT is around 300 and I would say 60 million USD, meaning that there's 360 million Tethers in existence. But as of today, you can see that the circulating supply is 674 millions total. So that means there are 674 million USDT in existence. And ironically, that is when you see a straight $1 value, and when all these acquisitions happen, you can see that the trading price of USDT is fluctuating, even tiny bit, but it does fluctuate, and which is really similar to what this person is saying, that if people perceive that USDT are no longer backed by an actual US dollar, then the USDT token will subject to the same volatility of other cryptocurrencies. And even though this is a very light fluctuation, it does fluctuate, and it shouldn't fluctuate that much. And as you can see currently, as we speak, one USDT Tether is only 0.997 of USD, which is only $0.003 difference But however, there is a difference, and I can never understand why there's a difference when this thing is supposed to be traded at $1. Because according to the website, it should be 100% back, and it should be a 1-to-1 ratio between the token and the USD value, but that's not the case currently. And it's been like that since September when the volume of USDT really rise quite a bit. So naturally, a lot of people are having a lot of questions about USD Tether and whether or not it is a legitimate operation or not. And naturally, people demand to see some proof that the USD token, the Tether token, is actually backed by real US dollar, and they actually reserve that is redeemable per each of the USDT. So the Tether team, for the longest time, didn't provide any real evidence that it was being backed by real US dollars until September of this year, that they released some of their audit. So some of their audits covering December 2016, January 2031, February 2017, and then March 31st, and then it stopped there. So at the time we didn't get any more audit data past March. And remember, at this point we are in September of 2017, so naturally it raised more questions than answer. And the reason why the audit stopped in March is because, according to the Tether team, that as we are no longer banking in Taiwan, and given that we are achieving substantial scale, we have engaged Freeman LLP in New York to perform a comprehensive balance sheet audit on a quarterly basis going back to December 2016. We will share the results with you as they become available in the coming weeks or months. And another thing that you should be pay attention to is that on the term and condition of the USD Tether, they claim that meaning the Tether team, they claim that the Tether tokens are not money and are not guaranteed to be redeemable by the company. And that is part of the term and condition. And the response that the Tether team provided at the time is that our term of service have been carefully picked apart by various malcontents and twisted to suggest that Tethers would not be redeemable for currencies on some bizarre, malicious whim by Tether. That is untrue, according to the team. While we reserve the right not to redeem for any particular customer, as we must, we will not do so for no reason. We have a duty to try to ensure that our service is not being used by persons from sanctioned country that is otherwise on a sanctioned list, or that has some background check problems. In short, redemption will not be unreasonable deny, but we reserve the right to selectively deny redemption and creation of tethers on a case-by-case basis. So naturally, a lot of the traders and investors have a lot of question about this statement that they provided, that the fact that they have the right to deny redemption for real US dollars if you are trading your USDT. And as this article from the Cointelegraph pointed out, that the Tether term of service can certainly be interpreted in the way the company says they intend, but then again, it can be read in other ways too. That's the problem with open-ended legal document. Their term of service simply says that the company can refuse to redeem Tether tokens. It does not explicitly state the circumstances in which a company would do so. So at the end of the day, you are at the mercy of Tethers, whether or not they will allow you to redeem your token for real US dollars. And on top of that, there are a lot of accusations between USD Tethers against USD Tether and Bitfinex, the trading platform. The fact that Bitfinex have a pretty close tie and they are the largest shareholder of USD Tether. That the accusation is there are fraudulent activities going on where maybe that Bitfinex can collude with USD Tether to print out more and more Tethers that doesn't have real US dollar backing. And keep in mind that These are just information that I gathered that I want to share with you. I'm not saying that USD Tether is lying or whether or not Bitfinex is liable for anything. I just want to share the information that is currently being circulated in the market with you. And the fact that maybe Bitfinex colluded with USD Tether to print out more token that wasn't backed by anything, and they use that for either lending out for margin trading, so Bitfinex can get interest from that, or they use that to pump up coins such as Bitcoin. So that's one of the allegations out there, and the biggest the biggest person that really close to this is Bitfinex Twitter, and he has done a lot of research and he had been doing this for a long time. He is kind of like on a mission to expose USD Tether and Bitfinex, if you will. So feel free to follow this particular person if you want to get the most updated information and you want to understand everything that he has. He does provide quite a bit of evidence against USD Tether and Bitfinex. But again, I'm not endorsing any of these evidence. I'm just simply saying that they are compelling, and if you are into USD Tether or you are trading with Bitfinex, it is good for you to know the in and out and the latest information. So keep that in mind. And of course, the bombshell news was yesterday. And yesterday, the news is that 31 million Tether hack happened, and that the firm, the USD Tether, lost $31 million in the hack. And this is, of course, in the midst of all these accusations that I just talked to you about. So this raised a lot of questions about this hack. A lot of people don't believe it. Some people do. And this hack was released from this particular Tether critical announcement here. And as a matter of fact, I started watching Box Mining live stream yesterday, and he was telling us that there is a wallet that hold about 31 million US dollar that is being blacklisted by the Tether team, meaning that that particular wallet, would, I think he meant this one here, was blacklisted, that Tether wouldn't let them redeem those $31 million token into US dollar. And Tether is trying really hard to publish a new client. They're actually using the OmniCore clients. They try to publish a new client, and they are really hoping that all the exchanges that allow USD Tether to update their clients, so then the new client will prevent the hacker from redeeming the USD Tether into US dollar, basically trying to save their money. So that is what they are doing now. And if you look at the grand scheme of things, $31 million was hacked from Tether. So that $31 million is a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money when you compare to something like the Bitcoin market cap, which is currently at 134 billion. So a lot of people are questioning why is $30 million cause Bitcoin to go from 82.46 all the way down to 77.62. And a lot of that has to do with just fear. You know, is not just fear about the 31 million USD Tether, but also fear about whether or not Bitfinex or the accusation against Bitfinex and Tether is true. And there also fear about, if it is true that Bitfinex is using USD Tether to pump Bitcoin, then Bitcoin can suffer a lot. But all of that fear was quickly decimated away, and the market started to rally, and we are back. Let me see where we are at now. We are basically at 81.26, so we are not too far from all-time high again. So it seems like the fear is subsided at the moment. But there's more interesting news coming out today. That there's a Reddit person goes by the name of Speedfly Chris, and he began to look into Bitcoin addresses associated with the Tether theft, and what he discovered with a lot of evidence that this is happened to link to another hack happened in 2015. So this Reddit user, he discovered a link between the wallet used to empty the Tether address and the wallets that have been used during the 2015 hacks of Bitcoin exchanges Bitstamp and Huobi. Apparently, the address that had been used during the Tether hack had received 0.01 BTC shortly before the hack. The sender of that transaction had recently received coins from this wallet. This was created back in 2015. This is where things started to get interesting. The same wallet that was first used to steal money, more than 18.5 thousand BTC, worth about $5 million at the time, but now it worth about $150 million today. From Bitstamp back in January of 2015. Months later, this wallet, the same wallet, sent 174 BTC to a wallet that had also received funds from the wallet used to empty Huobi hot wallet following an 8,500 BTC hack in December of that year, 2015. In total, those funds that got hacked is about 70 million US dollars. So basically, he found a link between the wallet that used in this hack that is linked to 2015. So you can make whatever you can make out of that. But if you want to look at the Reddit posts, here they are, and he posted all the link from Wallet Explorer to really walk you through his analysis of what has happened and how he concluded that they are related. So what happened now? Like I mentioned just now, that Tether team tried to push out a new client, basically a hard fork, to try to save the money to prevent the attacker from redeeming the funds. But should you be worried? Well, let's see. Currently, USD Tether is worth around $764 million versus a crypto market that's currently at 239 billion. So even the total market cap of USDT is very small when compared to the market cap. So the actual fall, if USDT become worthless, meaning that there are evidence to prove that USDT is not legitimate, and all of them have zero backing, which mean that they have no reserve whatsoever. I think the market, by pure number, the market will take a slight hit in theory, but I think the market will take a much bigger hit because of the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that are gonna cause the market to go down, and they're gonna cause Bitcoin to go down with that. But I think we're gonna quickly recover from that. So in the event, the worst case scenario, I think we're gonna see a quick dip and then followed by a pretty strong recovery. But we do have to think about a bigger picture. The more stories about cryptocurrencies that turn out to be scam and how they can get so big and turn out to be not legitimate, the more of those stories, the more it's gonna inhibit the amount of new adopters that are willing to come into the space. So that's a long-term effect of that. And like this article point out, even if it's proven that the USD Tether is not backed by US dollar, potentially if the US dollar is removed, the USDT will still hold some value because people will still have to use it. Because at the current moment, you don't have another alternative. There isn't another coin that uses it, and if you're on Binance, where it's just cryptocurrency to cryptocurrencies, you don't have any choice but to use USDT at the moment. So people will still use it, and I would think that in the event that it turns out that there's not enough US dollar to back all the Tether, the value may fall, but they still gonna have some value, and I do believe in that. But the biggest risk with I just watched another episode from crypto investors that I agree with, that a lot of people don't talk about, is that I think eventually the government, especially US government, is not going to be okay with a cryptocurrency that is being pegged to the US dollar. So I think eventually, and this is speculation on my end obviously, I think it's a matter of time before Tether existence will come into question once again, when the regulator is questioning the intent of Tether, and why is it pegged to the US dollar, and it can be shut down by the government. That is certainly a possibility. So at the moment, what I like to say is that use USDT if you have to. So in some cases you will have to, it's just convenience, and use them as a tool, not as a store of values. Try not to hold a lot of dollars in USDT if you don't have to. So until this whole thing blow over, you know, who knows, maybe they come out with better reporting to show that they are conducted more and more audits, and in fact that they do have a lot of money to back up all the tethers. I do want to say that they did publish another report of their audit under the new auditor Freeman LLP, and it looks, I mean, the format looked different with I expected because they are done by two different auditors. But a lot of people point out the fact that they redacted a lot of information, the bank information, for example, compared to the previous report that they published, which is show what bank they are banking with and what account number and how much money in here. You can see that this report here provided a lot more information than the newest report. So after they published the report, people still have more questions as to whether or not why they are hiding the name of the bank, which a lot of people consider not to be a private information. But like I say, you make whatever you want to make out of this, and this is the latest information that we do have. So with that, I hope that this video explained the situation to you a little better. If you have any question, make sure to leave them in the comment section below, and I would love to hear from you. And hit the like button if you like the content, because your like does help other people find the same content. And subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any new information. And with that, thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.